In the early 90s, before I was married, before I had kids, before I finally pulled my life together, I had a girlfriend. I was head over heels for her. I thought she was perfect and that we were going to spend our lives together. Then one afternoon, I came home early and found her in bed with a coworker. I packed a single bag with the few things I couldn't afford to lose, walked her out, and left. About an hour later, I pulled into a motel 15 miles out of town. It was not the first motel I saw, but it was the first one that didn't make me worry my car would be gone by morning. I checked in, asked the clerk where the nearest liquor store was, and got drunk that first night. I woke up so hungover the next morning that I poured the rest of the vodka down the sink. Alcohol wasn't going to fix anything. I ate a ridiculous amount of beef and cheese at a nearby burger place, came back to the room, and slept. Maybe 3 hours later, I woke up around 9:30 at night, dragged myself into the shower to rinse the cobwebs off, and expected a quiet night of TV and maybe a pizza if the clerk knew a place that delivered that far out. Instead, I heard someone yelling in the parking lot. I peeked through the curtains and saw a woman at the far end of the lot having what looked like a public breakdown. She was yelling at the clerk. I couldn't make out everything from inside, but curiosity pulled me outside. I stood on the walkway, smoking a cigarette and pretending not to watch. Then I heard what she was saying, and it stopped being entertainment. She looked to be in her late 20s or early 30s. Dark hair, tan, jeans, sneakers, a white tee. Between shouting at the clerk to shut up and listen, she kept saying things like, "We need to get everyone out. They're all going to die." The clerk tried to calm her, said he would call the police. She would not have it. "The cops won't be able to do anything," she said. "They'd end up dead too. You have to get everyone out right now." I wasn't the only one hearing all this. As the yelling went on, more people started stepping out of their rooms to see what was happening. A few parents came out with their kids, but they quickly pulled them back inside once the woman started screaming about everyone dying. She sounded so sure of herself that even I began to wonder if this was really a breakdown or if something terrible was actually coming. Is she crazy, or is this for real? I thought. Because that's not the kind of thing you want to gamble on. Others must have been thinking the same thing. Some people went back inside, looking nervous, while one guy came out again with his car keys in hand, ready to leave if things got any worse. The woman definitely believed what she was saying. You could hear the panic in her voice, and it spread fast. People were getting restless. A few kids started crying. The woman shouted again, "Don't you get it? We can't stay here." I'll admit, I started to feel it too, that creeping thought. What if she's right? People began shouting things like, "Just call the cops." But you could tell they weren't yelling because she scared them. They were yelling because they believed her, at least a little. The clerk turned toward the second-floor balcony, where someone had shouted to call the police. He tried to calm everyone down, saying everything was under control. But as soon as he said that, the woman snapped. She stormed toward him before he even realized how close she was. He tried to back away, telling her to stop, but she grabbed his arm. I thought she was going to hit him, but instead, she bit him. Hard. The clerk screamed, trying to pull free, yelling, "Get off me." His cry echoed across the lot as the woman clamped down harder. You could actually hear people gasp. Some ran back into their rooms, slamming their doors. I don't know exactly how he got her off, but he must have yanked her away or shoved her, because the next thing I saw, she was on the ground and he was sprinting toward the office, clutching his bleeding arm. The woman got back up, still shouting that we were all going to die. A moment later, a man came out from the front office with a gun. I later learned he was the motel manager. He said the police were on their way and warned her to leave before they arrested her. That only made her worse. She screamed again that the cops couldn't help, that they'd just die like the rest of us, and then she started walking toward the manager. But unlike his employee, he kept his distance, gun raised, telling her to back off. Looking back now, that was the moment everything truly went off the rails. When I started to think she might not be completely crazy after all, because the moment the manager pointed his gun at her, she froze. She backed away slowly, hands trembling, eyes darting between him and the rest of us. Then she turned and saw a young couple on the second-floor balcony. The woman was holding a baby. The sight of them seemed to trigger something in her. She ran toward the stairs, crying out for them to hand her the baby so at least it would be spared from whatever was coming. She didn't make it halfway up before the father stepped in, blocking her path. When she swung at him, he shoved her hard. She fell down the last few steps, but got up almost instantly, still frantic. Before she could reach the stairs again, flashing lights washed over the parking lot. A police car pulled in, siren giving one quick burst before going silent. The manager immediately set his gun on the ground and raised his hands. One of the officers got out, weapon drawn but not aimed, and moved toward the manager to secure the gun. He told him to head back inside while they handled it. The second officer went straight toward the woman. And for a moment, she looked relieved, like she thought they were finally going to listen and help everyone get out. But when it became clear they weren't evacuating anyone, she snapped again. She started shouting that everyone was going to die, that nobody understood. Her panic exploded into fury. "Why won't you listen to me? Are you all stupid?" she screamed. Her voice cracked as she screeched and wailed, words tumbling out so fast they blurred together. Watching her unravel like that was disturbing, like her mind was slipping away right in front of us. The officer tried to calm her, but she kept advancing. He stepped back and pulled out his bright yellow taser. He didn't aim it right away, but just seeing it seemed to push her over the edge. She lunged at him, teeth bared, like she was going to bite him too. He didn't hesitate. He fired. The taser wires snapped out, and her body stiffened instantly. She locked up mid-run and fell face first onto the pavement. It was a bad fall, really bad. When she hit the pavement, you could almost feel it. The cops moved in to cuff her, but she wasn't moving. She looked completely out cold. A few minutes later, an ambulance pulled in. The paramedics bandaged her face, lifted her onto a stretcher, and loaded her up. The police followed the ambulance as it pulled away, lights flashing but sirens off. The motel manager started pacing around the lot, telling everyone things were under control and begging people not to check out. Some guests still packed up anyway. I just went back to my room, grabbed my keys, and drove to the burger place for fries and a milkshake. No one showed up at the motel. No massacre, no mysterious event. Just silence and flashing lights fading down the road. I guess the woman had truly lost her mind, convinced something terrible was about to happen. In a way, she was right. Something bad did happen, just not to us, only to her.